Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio and continuing our journey of light and knowledge. I hope you're having a good summer so far. I know I am. And I hope you've enjoyed where we've been on this podcast. I love some of the feedback I'm getting. I love some of the comments I see, and of course I love looking on that my feed there and seeing how many people have watched these videos. It's unbelievable. It really is. And I'm sure you're learning right along with me as we go along here. And we're going to be continuing our journey on this particular segment of Points of Light Radio. And we'll be shedding light here again on another one of those organizations that I'm sure you've never heard of. And that order is the Order of Fleur de Lys. Now, there's really nothing I can give you as insight on this organization. I was on their website, and this is a very old organization. Very, very deep roots. I really don't know how to describe them. Simply put, the Order of Fleur de Lys is an order of chivalry. And the order does numerous works. One of their biggest is the Fleur de Lys Foundation, which I'm going to have my guest explain as we go along here. One of the things that I seen on their website is, on admission, postulants vow to live by the precepts of honor, duty, truth, and justice in the spirit of the ancient orders of chivalry. And they are asked to put honor above self, duty above wealth, and justice above the law, and truth above all. Now, like I said, there's not much I can really tell you about this organization, so I'm going to let my guest explain a little more, shed some light on this, shall we say. And my guest for this segment of Points of Light Radio is Sir Knight Montgomery. Sir Knight Montgomery is the past sovereign grand commander of the Order of the Fleur de Lys. And I can't wait to interview him and learn something about this order. So, let's go talk to Sir Knight Montgomery. But as I always ask you, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then just trim your lamp and follow me. Dr. Montgomery, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Hi. We're kind of an hour late or so.
Oh, okay. So, why don't you tell my listeners and viewers about yourself, first of all?
Sorry?
Why don't you tell my listeners and viewers about yourself?
Well, my name is Hugh Montgomery, and I'm one of the past Sovereign Grand Commanders of the Order of the Fleur de Lys.
Okay. And you're a doctor, as I understand it. Like
PhD, yes.
PhD, yes. In what?
Well, in industrial audiology.
Oh, well, what's that? What is that exactly?
Well, industrial audiology is the problem of hearing loss in an industrial environment, and how you can cut down the possible causes of hearing loss in industries which have a lot of noise.
Oh, yeah. I used to work in heavy industry. That was a big problem there.
It
Big.
is. It's a very big problem. I did a lot of work in the Volkswagen engine factory.
Okay. And
Well, as a consequence of which, I have a bad hearing loss myself.
well, go figure, eh? Well, you're here today to talk about the Order of the Fleur de Lys. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about this little known order. Like how long has it been around? How has it
Well,
evolved over time?
okay, we date its founding from 1439.
Wow.
Because the first letters patent that we received were from René d'Anjou, who at that point was the regnant king of the Two Sicilies. But the order, I guess it started with a whole load of Scottish mercenary companies who went over to France to help the French against the English in the 100 Years' War. And in fact, some 10,000 Scots went over to France.
Wow.
Most of whom were wiped out in the Battle of Verneuil. And the ones who remained formed sort of independent companies. And then eventually 5 of them got together and formed the Compagnie de Lys. And they became eventually the sort of bodyguard of Joan of Arc, particularly at the Battle of Orleans. And then when René decided to take up his crown of the Two Sicilies and went to Naples, he took a whole lot of Scots and Italian mercenaries with him. And he appointed Jean de Montgomery, who was an ancestor of mine, the first Grand Commander. And that basically is how the order started off. After the 100 Years' War, then they fought in, the 30 Years' War and the War of the Spanish Succession, and anyone basically who would pay for them to bring their swords along and kill people.
Wow. And you don't think they'll be forming anything like this with Wagner or whatever during the Russian?
No, we wouldn't like to be associated with him. No, I don't think so.
But I don't think their causes are as honorable either with the Wagner group or whatever. I don't think there's anything like that there. But how long have you been a member?
I was made a member. Goodness me. Since I was about 18 or 19, I suppose, and I'm now 85, so quite a while.
You can join that young?
Oh yes, you can join. You can join as young as 7 as a page, and you can become an esquire or a maiden at the age of 14, and then at the age of 18, if you are already a member, you would come in as a companion or a knight.
Okay, so like you talked about the history of it, but what is the purpose of the Order of Fleur de Lys today? What exactly do they do?
Well, when you join the order, you take an oath of allegiance to whoever's the sovereign grand commander, and you agree to try and live by the tenets of the order. And the tenets of the order are basically honor above self, duty above wealth, justice above the law, and truth above all. And although they are very difficult sometimes to live up to, we try ourselves to live by those tenets and try and persuade other people that those are good tenets by which we should live.
Okay. Now, I've read as well that you know that you're value driven, and the aim is to promulgate better citizenship among peoples based on the ancient knightly code. So, first of all, let's talk about the values. What these
Well, the
values?
values are exactly the tenets that I've given you.
Okay,
That's precisely what they are. Those are what we would call our values by which we are driven. Yes.
okay. And how would you go about, shall we say,
Well,
keeping
um,
giving to charity?
yes, very much so. Um, what the order is divided into companies,
Okay,
and we have, I think, one, two, three, four. We've got six companies in the UK. We have one in America. We have one in Belgium. We are starting up one in India, and then we have individuals who are members of the order in Australia, Thailand, Sweden, all over the place. Now, what the local companies should do is support a local charity. We're very keen on being, if you like, part of the community. And we expect, therefore, our members to take part in the community. That might be as a local councillor, or it might be helping out in a food bank. It might be helping to keep their local community neat and tidy. It could be all sorts of things. And normally the local company will choose a charity, a local charity, which they will support. And there are a number of different charities locally which are supported. And then part of one's oblations each year, that is the yearly amount that you have to pay, go towards the Fleur de Lys Foundation, which is the overall charity of the order. And that then does rather bigger things. For example, for several years, we supported the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Malawi. We provided equipment and different things for them. And then in 2020, I think, 2019, yeah, 2019, I think it started and finished in 2021. We supported the building and equipping of a pediatric high dependency unit in Malawi. And that was a very big project. So that's the sort of thing that we do.
so and the Fleur de Lis Foundation is basically, it's an international foundation. You're basically that chooses different where it's going to use its money.
Yeah, I mean, the Fleur de Lys Foundation basically helps young people, children, and particularly orphans.
Wow, good.
And we don't necessarily mean orphans in the legal sense of it, because one of the, I say that because, for example, a lot of children in England either leave their homes or they get chucked out of their homes when they're teenagers.
Jeez.
And they have nowhere to live and they could become homeless. So one of the charities, for example, that we support is Centrepoint. Now, Centrepoint basically provides a roof over their heads, a bed, somewhere to eat, etc. But the children need something else usually. They need somewhere to have a future. And they might want to be a hairdresser, they might want to be a bike mechanic, they might want to go to university. But to do that, they need possibly a computer, they may need tools, etc. And then we will provide those things for them. So that Centrepoint provides, if you like, the housing, and we provide the equipment that they need to follow that particular profession that they want to fulfill.
Tuition assistance, maybe, things like that.
Sorry?
Tuition assistance, maybe, things like that. help with funding for university, things like that?
Yes, I mean, yes, indeed.
Good.
We've quite a lot of laptops for people. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. So now these oblations, though, that you spoke of, now do they vary from place to place, or is there one set amount that a person has to pay?
Yes and no. There is a basic oblation,
Okay.
which is paid by everyone,
Okay.
and which goes, if you like, to the foundation and the central order. But then, um, on top of that, quite often companies will ask their members to give some extra money for their local purposes, and that would vary from company to company. Yes.
Okay. Now, what are the qualifications for membership in the Fleur de Lys?
Oh, that's an interesting one. First and foremost, membership of the order is by invitation only.
Okay.
So you have to be proposed by someone who's been in the order for some time, and you have to be seconded by someone. And we are fairly careful about the type of people that we want to join. So we have a vetting process.
Okay.
First of all, they have to be approved by the local company commander. Then they have to be approved by the vice regent for that area. And then it will come to the sovereign grand commander for final decision. Now, if the person is well known, I mean, for example, if it's the son or daughter of someone who is already a member, it's a fairly easy process. But if it's someone who we don't know, then the vetting is fairly stiff.
So a series of interviews, not just one quick interview.
Oh no, not just one, and we do more than that. We have a couple of gentlemen who have very high security clearance.
Good.
And we pass that to them, and they will go through a vetting process which 99% it weeds out the problems.
Good, good. Now, do you have a degree system within the Fleur de Lys?
Sorry, do we have what?
A degree system.
No, we don't have a degree system. We have, that's if you like, a Masonic system.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that. What we do have is we have ranks. So, for example, normally you would join as a companion or a lady. And then after a certain time, and providing that your company commander is happy with you, he will then recommend that you become a knight or a dame. And then you have to do various things. You have to show that you are helping the order, that you're helping your fellow men, etc. Then you become a knight or dame commander. And eventually the top rank is knight and dame grand commander.
Okay. So these
It's very similar, I think, to the one that you did for Lazarus.
Yes, yes. Now, where do these companies meet, shall we say?
Right. Well, they meet in various places. The spiritual home of the order, which is where we have our general muster, is the chapel of Queen's College, Cambridge.
Okay.
The reason for that is because our founder is René d'Anjou, and the founder of Queen's College, Cambridge, was his daughter, Margaret of Anjou. So our relationship goes back a good many hundred years.
Okay.
Then, for example, Durham meet in Durham Cathedral, Chester meet in Chester Cathedral, the City of London meets in one of the livery halls, Wax Chandler's Hall, and the St James Company meets in St James Piccadilly. Then Lithgow meets in the very ancient church of Abercorn, and so on.
Okay. Now, how is the order doing membership-wise? Is it?
I would what?
How is the order doing membership wise? Is it maintaining its numbers, or is it
We are not a big order. I mean, we're about 300 people.
Okay, wow.
And we prefer to have quality rather than quantity. So we've lost a few people, of course, through COVID and through death and what have you. But equally well, we've got quite a number of young people coming in, and we have one company, I think the average age is probably about 30. We've got other companies where the average age is 60.
Okay. Well, that's good. You need both. You do need the mix of each.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, what drew you to the Order of the Fleur de Lys? Was it in your family?
Yes.
Oh,
Short answer. Short answer. Yes. Until I became Sovereign Grand Commander, which was about 40 years ago, the order was entirely hereditary.
oh,
You had to be born into one of the 68 or so families which formed the original order. But the First World War wiped out 90% of our membership.
yeah.
And we were barely starting to get back again when, of course, the Second World War happened. So I decided that I would change the constitution, if you like, and that we would start admitting non-family members. But the interesting thing is that most of the members who have joined, their sons, daughters, grandchildren, etc., are starting to join as well. So we're sort of progressing back to that state, which is rather nice.
Now, I've heard it said that a person learns a lot about themselves in fraternalism. What did you learn about yourself in your journey through the Fleur de Lys?
My journey through the Fleur de Lys. Right. I'm not quite sure where to begin this, because I was a student at public school when I first joined. Then I went into the army, so I had very little time to sort of attend any meetings, to be blunt. And I spent 6 years in the army in places like Malaya, Cyprus, and what have you, on active service. So it wasn't until about the 1950 something rather, 1960, must have been about 1965 or something, that I really sort of started taking an interest again. And when I took over the order, we only had 6 members. I mean, it had been reduced to that state. And my uncle had been the Deputy Sovereign Grand Commander and said basically, this is now up to you. Do you want to take it on, or is it going to die? So I said, okay, I'll take it on. So I became the Sovereign Grand Commander rather overnight, and I gradually built up the order over the past 30 plus years.
Wow. And do you feel that the Order of the Fleur de Lys has, shall we say, enriched your life?
Enormously. Enormously. I mean, it is very difficult, unless you're a member of it, to quite understand that if you need help, there is always someone there that you can call on.
Good.
Whether it's legal help, health advice, you name it, we will have someone. And that's, I mean, I don't know. Are you by any chance a Mason?
Pardon me?
Are you a Mason?
No, sir.
No, you're not. Okay. Well, it in some ways, if a Mason would probably say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my point. But the difference between Masonry and us, apart from that we don't have the sort of ceremonies that they have,
Yeah.
but that we accept men and women equally.
Okay.
And that means that you have a lot of people join as couples. So you have a very close family group as opposed to just a brotherhood, if you see the difference.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. And you feel that is something it really has to offer is for.
Oh, it's something that is absolutely, it can be, it makes so much difference, because it gives you a purpose. It gives you, okay, you may not always be able to meet in your daily life and should we say act the way that you want to, but it gives you a purpose that's how you should act. And it makes a lot of difference, because when you are considering any action, you want to think, is that part of the tenets of the order? Does that stand up to the tenets that we propose? And it makes a lot of difference to how you think about things.
Well, Doctor, I appreciate your time today, and
Not at all.
And all the best to you and the Order of the Fleur de Lys, sir.
Not at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Dr. Hugh Montgomery, brothers and sisters. Didn't you just love that man? I love, what I admired most there was seeing that lifetime of dedication, right, and service, right? I really do. You could see it, and you could see that it's been very rewarding for him. You can't help but appreciate that. You really can't. And let me ask you, have you ever heard of the Sovereign Order of the Fleur de Lys? Right? And let me ask you some more, like, how many more of these organizations are out there doing that great work? Right? You've heard me say this, and I'll say it again. We will find them. We will find those organizations, and we will give them the recognition that they deserve here in Points of Light Radio. Unfortunately, that's all I have time for today. But before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. You can follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel and my Points of Light Radio store. You can also see the link to the Sovereign Order of the Fleur de Lys website here in the detail section of this podcast. But, brothers and sisters, as I always say, I'm sorry to part with you. And it's been a pleasure fellowshipping with you. But until we meet again, just step into the light.